The moon was high, casting a pale glow over the dense forest. The night air was cold, biting into the skin of those brave or foolish enough to wander into its depths. To most people, this was just another patch of forgotten wilderness, but to Daniel, it was home. He was a single father raising his little girl, Lily, in a small wooden cabin on the outskirts of town. Life hadn't been kind to him. His wife had passed away 3 years ago, leaving him with the impossible task of being both mother and father. Every day was a struggle, but Daniel had learned to find strength in his daughter's smile. That night, he was out in the woods hunting for firewood. Lily was asleep back in the cabin, clutching the tattered teddy bear her mother had given her. Daniel's flashlight cut through the trees as he searched for dry branches. He was about to turn back when he heard something soft, muffled, almost like a cry. At first, he thought it was an animal. But then, it came again. A faint voice. Human. Weak. Desperate. His heart raced. He followed the sound, deeper and deeper into the woods, until his light caught something unusual. The ground ahead looked disturbed, as though it had been dug up recently. He froze. Then the muffled voice grew louder, more urgent. Someone was underground. Buried alive. Without hesitation, Daniel dropped his flashlight and began clawing at the dirt with his bare hands. His nails tore, his skin bled, but he didn't stop. He dug like a madman, driven by the haunting sound of someone struggling for breath beneath the soil. After what felt like forever, his hands struck something solid wood. A makeshift coffin. "Hold on," he shouted, though his voice trembled. "I'm here. Don't give up." Using a sharp rock, he pried open the wooden box. The lid cracked, and inside was a woman, her eyes wide with terror, her lips trembling. She was gasping for air, dirt clinging to her face and hair. Daniel reached in and pulled her out, his arms burning with exhaustion. She clung to him, sobbing uncontrollably. "Who did this to you?" he asked, brushing the dirt from her face. The woman could barely speak. Her lips parted, and in a whisper so faint it was almost stolen by the wind, she said, "They wanted me gone, because of who I am." Daniel wrapped his jacket around her trembling body. He noticed the quality of her clothes, torn, dirty, but expensive. Jewelry still clung to her wrist, a diamond bracelet even the dirt couldn't hide. She wasn't just anyone. She was someone important. Someone powerful. "Come on," Daniel said firmly, lifting her to her feet. "You're safe now. I'll take you back to my cabin." As they made their way through the woods, Daniel kept glancing at her. Who was this woman? And why had someone buried her alive? He didn't know, but one thing was certain: the moment she whispered those words, his simple life had been shattered forever. The cabin was warm, lit by the soft glow of the fireplace. Daniel sat the woman down on his worn-out sofa and handed her a cup of tea. She hadn't stopped shaking since he found her, though her eyes now carried a fire, a mix of fear and determination. Lily had woken up, rubbing her eyes, curious about the stranger. "Daddy, who is she?" Lily asked softly. Daniel knelt beside his daughter. "She's a friend who needed our help. Go back to bed, sweetheart. Everything's fine." But everything was far from fine. The woman finally spoke, her voice still raspy. "My name is Isabella. Isabella Hart." Daniel froze. He had heard that name before. Everyone had. Isabella Hart was one of the wealthiest women in the country, the daughter of a billionaire who owned half the corporations in the city. She was a business icon, a name that dominated headlines. And yet here she was, sitting in his cabin, covered in dirt, trembling from being buried alive. "Why would anyone do this to you?" Daniel asked. Isabella's eyes darted toward the window, as though she feared someone was still out there watching. "Because I refused to sign over my inheritance. My father passed away last month, and his empire was left to me. But not everyone in the family agreed. They thought if I disappeared, the fortune would fall into their hands." Daniel's stomach turned. The cruelty of it all was staggering. He had lost his wife to illness, but at least her death wasn't born of greed and betrayal. This woman had faced her own family burying her alive for money. She leaned forward, her voice dropping to a whisper. "If you hadn't found me tonight, I'd be dead." Those words struck Daniel harder than any blow. He realized then that their meeting was not chance. Fate had put him in the woods that night for a reason. Over the next few days, Isabella stayed hidden in the cabin. Daniel tended to her wounds, cooked meals for her, and even managed to make her laugh, a sound she admitted she hadn't heard from herself in months. Lily grew fond of her too, climbing onto Isabella's lap with childlike innocence, offering comfort without even knowing the full truth. But danger loomed closer each day. Strange cars were spotted near the woods. At night, Daniel heard footsteps where there should have been none. Whoever tried to kill Isabella wasn't finished. One evening, as the three of them sat together by the fire, Isabella whispered again words that would bind their fates forever. She said, "You saved me, Daniel. But in saving me, you've put yourself and your daughter in danger. They'll come for me again, and for anyone protecting me." Daniel's chest tightened. For years, he had lived quietly, far from the chaos of the world, focusing only on raising his little girl. But now, that peace was gone. He looked at Isabella, then at Lily, and he made a choice. "Then let them come," he said firmly. "I lost my wife already. I won't lose anyone else. You're safe here. With us." Tears welled in Isabella's eyes. No one had ever chosen her for who she was beyond her wealth and power. But this man, this single father who had nothing, was willing to risk everything for her. The next morning, Isabella began to share details of her family's betrayal, secrets that could shake entire empires. Daniel realized she trusted him in a way she had never trusted anyone else. She whispered plans, confessions, and promises that only deepened the bond between them. And though danger was still circling the woods, something new had been born in that tiny cabin, hope. Because sometimes, a whisper in the dark can ignite a fire that changes everything. And as this chapter closes, remember, stories like this remind us of the strength of ordinary people, of courage found in the most unexpected places. If you want to hear more stories of survival, sacrifice, and the power of fate, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Every whisper, every story, could change the way you see the world.